Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build. So today we're going to have a look at the new building set that is available on the Atomic Shop at the moment. That's the Abandoned Mine Shaft. And yeah, I've got to say this one is pretty interesting. Okay, yeah, so this is a brand new set that's available on the Atomic Shop at the moment. It's Abandoned Mineshaft themed building set. And yeah, there's some interesting bits and pieces in this one that give it a very different tone, and it's going to make for some interesting scrappy builds going forward. So let's have a look at where we are on the map first up, because we're going to build an abandoned mine of sorts. So there you go, in the Ash Heap, we are pretty much due north of Welch there, and due west of Mount Blair Train Yard. There's kind of a cliff that curls around here, and we're a little bit up that on the way up Mount Blair, and yeah, this is a good spot because I wanted somewhere with a nice flat cliff edge to build up against, and this is what I came up with. So I've got one foundation in as usual first, just to kind of save on the messing around, because you know how that goes. So yeah, quite a cool looking set, this one. You see there's some interesting variety in the pieces there, and we've got a ramp rather than a staircase. Functions exactly the same, but it's a different tone. It's quite cool. And yeah, maybe not quite as much variety in the half walls, but otherwise it is pretty cool. So we've got a floor set that comes with this as well. And this is going to be a 3x3 basically. But yeah, I quite like this texture on the floor, that rough wood that they've gone for. It really works quite well, and in contrast to my usual taste, I'm going to alternate this one. I normally wouldn't do that, but this looks quite good that way. IMO. So we've got that up as close as we can possibly get it to the cliff edge there. And I'm going to extend out a little bit here because I want to lower this last line of foundations on this side down. So there's our guide one that we're dropping down. Now we can snap to it. Nice. So we'll get this last one in. And that is our basic floor plan in, apart from the extra foundation here. That's better. So let's get a stair in here so we can path between the two levels a bit more easily. Where are we? There we go. Stair in, and then foundation through the stair as we're using a wooden one. If we're using concrete stairs, we could go the other direction, but we're not. So there we go. Now you're going to see something interesting in a second as we put the walls in. That is, obviously the walls are not going to line up in height, which for another build might be an issue. For this one, not so much. So we've got little gaps at the side there, which you can sort of deal with, at least kind of conceal. Having some difficulty getting a wall in on this corner, as it turns out once I take the stairs out, I can put the wall in. So a little bit of playing around in the decoration phase, got a wall in there, but it's fine. And we'll get the stairs leading up in here. So there's the new ramp. And we'll stick a floor piece on the top here. There we go. And yeah, you can see that the height difference between the two pieces there, two sections, is quite significant, but it's just enough headroom that we can get through the doorway, which is actually quite a good way of judging it, and gives us enough clearance to walk around on the upper section. So adds to what will be a ramshackle look. So in this back corner over here, I want basically a little room, which is where we're going to put a bedroom, which in hindsight I should probably have put sort of warehouse pieces around and made it like a converted office, but didn't think of that until afterwards. So what we're going to do is run some paths out here, and to put the railings on, we're having to use these half floors you see I've already put in. Otherwise, these smaller railing pieces won't snap on. But once we've got them in, we can then pull out all of these floor pieces, leave them floating, and we just snap the pieces we actually want in place. So, back on over to the new ones. There we go. We'll alternate those again there. Good. And now we go back to the half ones and put this floor back in. And I'm going to use these mesh floors because we don't have matching textures for the half-size ones still. But if we sort of embrace the difference, it kind of works here with the mesh. So there's the floor in the corner. That's going to give us our little room over there. Now we'll stick a stair over this side, or a ramp in this case. And we can get some walls on the top. And I find them. There we go. So I'll just stick these in nice and quickly. We'll come back and switch them up in a bit, because as you can probably see, this is going to be somewhat square for the moment. But we'll fix that in a minute, as I say. So I'm just going to stick this extra floor on at a bit of an angle there, so I can put a post on to support this corner. There we go. We'll go straight through the floor apparently, which is nice. Looking good. Now we can head up and put the top floor on. Sort of roof, I suppose. Roof terrace, perhaps? Yeah, we'll just get this floor in. Nice and easy. Continue mixing everything up. There we go. And for this back edge, you can see there is a slight lean back to the cliff edge, so we're going to need to close that gap there. So we'll use some floors for that one as well. That's a full-size one that apparently went through just fine. Did the same here as well. This one, on the other hand, nowhere near as cooperative, and I haven't the foggiest why, it's just weird like that. So we'll plug up the gap with what's available. Sort of half-size and quarter floors here. There we go. Now it's more or less complete. So let's get some railings on here. Those ones around the stairs went in surprisingly easy. I thought that one at the back in particular was going to be a problem. As it turned out, it wasn't. So if you pick this set up, there might be an option if you're having difficulty getting the railings in around another staircase. Swap it out for the one from this set. You'll be able to get it in more easily and then it should work nicely. So, I am changing this large floor out for a small one on this corner because I want to drop that half-size railing in. Now we'll get this section railed off. Unfortunately, this half-size one, as we noted before, does not snap to the long edge of a floor piece, be that a full-size one or a half-size one. So let's make a quick adjustment here. We'll stick that quarter piece in on the far side there. There we go. And now we can put the two half-size railings in. 1, 2. Nice. So take that floor out. Put this one back in. There we go. Sorted. So, railings in place for now. As we can see, rather boxy. We're going to need to boss this up a little bit, I think. So, fortunately, there are a lot of different textures and types of wall in this particular set, so that's a really strong start for us. So we'll start by using some of those, some windows, some of these sort of half pieces here with the gaps in them. I've gone for having them full size at the corner and then slanting away from the corner, because it just kind of looks a little bit better, I think. Like that. Was going to put a window on this one. In the end, I decided not to because the staircase is basically behind it. But see what I'm getting at there? It doesn't look quite right. So we'll leave that plain. So that's a start. So up here, changed my mind on how I want the layout here because this is very, very square. So we'll take that off. We'll cut the corner, put a couple of half walls in here. I'm actually going to put a roof on the top of these, a corner roof piece, but I'll do that during the decoration phase. For now, we will put a railing here temporarily. I'll come back to that in a bit. So, heading back outside and having a look at this place. That's slightly better. Still some work to be done, I think. So we're going to break up this corner here by putting a little balcony on this. I'll just stick that up there. It'll be handy to give us somewhere to sort of stand and fire down from if we get any trouble. This place does get attacked occasionally. I've had dogs and liberators attacking while I was building here. Right, let's get some railings on. Nice and easy. Sorted. We'll put this wall back in, this time in a door, and we'll use the other one this time. Downstairs we've used the door that's got a little kind of porched roof over it. For this one we're going to use the door that does not. There we go, just to mix it up. Let's have another quick check. Yeah, I'm getting there. Let's change this one out. Window's not looking quite right there, I don't think. It basically doesn't change anything. So let's change this out for a sort of slopey one, like that. Yeah, now that looks better. Looks a bit more interesting. So up in this top corner, I'm going to swap these railings out for, well, in the end I'm going to use some barbed wire fences, which should be currently available from Hunt for the Treasure Hunter, which is running at the moment. So if you haven't got them, there's your opportunity to pick these up. But I was going to use the regular ones, which would work fine, but obviously with the angled sort of bottom to them and the fact they won't snap, it'll look a little weird. Which is not a problem you have with the barbed wire set. So let's nudge that over to the left a little bit further. Make sure that this one on the right is not floating, which still kind of is hanging off the edge a little bit. Nudge it over a little bit further. There we go. Snap that in. Sorted. That's better. Changes up the angles a little bit more, makes it a little bit more ramshackle and a little bit more interesting to look at. Still fairly square at the bottom, but with a little bit of dressing up, we can do some good work on that. So on this side, I'm going to drop in the abandoned mine shelter entrance. which is pretty huge, but it's going to add a nice little bit of interest to this side of the camp, and makes sense given the theme. I'll leave that one in there. You can see I put some posts on here just to support this balcony. It's not strictly necessary, but I do like to do it. Same technique as we used before, but as I'm pulling most of them out, I figured we'll skip over that. So let's just maneuver this shelter entrance into place. It's pretty chunky and a bit awkward to move around on occasion, this thing, but it does work quite well. We'll get that lined up with the edge, neat and tidy. I don't want it popping up. I want it just sitting down, but as close as I can get it. And that looks to be it. Looks alright. That adds considerably more interest on this side. Let's just close off this end of the balcony quickly. Where are we? There we go. Boom, boom. That's more like it. Now, I want some steps to sort of get access to this foundation at the bottom of the prefab here. The shelter entrance, rather. And turns out quite easy to do. We should grab a foundation and line it up very neatly with the edge here, with a couple of lines there on the edge of it. Makes it nice and easy to see what you're doing. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's pretty close. Close enough, I think. Can't get one in here, but as it turns out it doesn't matter, because we can go the other way around anyway. Which is what I want to do, because I need foundations on the inside. As we can see, they'll snap straight through this with no problem whatsoever. So, we'll snap some stairs on the outside here. So, if you want a wooden texture on this base, this foundation, you can do at the top there, but I don't. I really just want the stairs. So, grab a third foundation here. There it is. Snap it onto the edge. Now we take these two next to the stairs off first, and this last one off, and we have floating stairs. Nice. So there we go. Looking reasonably ramshackle and scrappy, and I think with a bit of decoration, we should be able to work with this. So I'm going to head off and do that, and we'll have a look at the tour in just a second. Oh, voila! So the lighting in the Ash Heap with this particular set is a bit odd. In a way, you might actually be better off in other parts of the map, because there's a sort of reddish, brownish, greyish tone to the Ash Heap that is also present in the colour of the wood on this. So it's kind of camouflaged, so if that's what you want, great. But maybe it'd be better off in a different part of the map for contrast reasons. But this is what we've got. Added loads of bits of texture and stuff on the outside, signs and some window boards on there over some of the gaps and that sort of thing, just to make it a bit more interesting. A couple of extra bits and pieces on the shelter entrance here, nothing spectacular, just the shower and the toilet, but this thing's fairly interesting on its own anyway, and I don't want to block off access to the lift at the back corner there. So, nice ultrasight shard that's come from what's the event called? Seismic Activity, the new world boss that was added with Nuka World on tour just before Christmas. Yeah, I quite like the look of this, especially once you add a few extra bits of texture and a few bits of colour to break up the shape of it a bit. It looks pretty nice, and we've got some bits around the other side as well, just to sort of stuff that's been dragged back vibe. Yeah, it's come out okay. As we head inside, the boxiness is really less present, and I quite like the look of this place. Close the door behind us. And for a little power armor station there down under the stairs, as we had a little bit of dead space, so a little staircase in there and then angled that power armor station. And we've got our main crafting space down here. Some of it's elsewhere, but the main space is down here. A little bits on the wall. Got the punch card machine by the door, which makes sense for somebody clocking in and out. And our little chemistry area on this side. Decided to double up the armor station with the collector on this side, rather than putting it outside. There's not a huge amount of space outside, so and I didn't want to pull all of the brambles and stuff out and bulldoze those, so having the collectron in here certainly helped with that. There's the other shelter entrance. Kind of works. Decided to go all the way across the back here with the wall in the end, but with the gaps in it you can see the stone at the back as well, so it kind of works. Neither one is too oppressive, which works out quite nicely. A little balcony there. Going for the new Fallout First Securitron player vending machine there, which I've turned off on this occasion because the thing is really, really noisy and it rattles around a lot. It's kind of annoying, but it should work either way. Yeah. A few little bits of decoration. I decided not to go crazy with the decoration on this one. Put a fair bit in, but I didn't want to go too crazy just because of the type of build. It's a somebody's moved into a mine shaft entrance and taken it over, so I thought the kind of rough industrial look would be better without too much in the way of decoration. But on the flip side, if you don't have enough, it'll look bare, so got a decent bit in here. So yeah, this staircase ramp thing is interesting. Quite cool, works well. That catch just reminded me, actually, there's a couple of things that did not appear to be floating when I initially placed them down, but having logged out and logged back in, they are now floating, which is slightly annoying with some of those collision boxes, but what can you do? So I elected not to put any furniture out on this balcony because it's really quite small and there's not much room for it. But it does give us somewhere, as I say, to sort of stand and shoot if need be. This area in front of us here is actually where one of the Primal Cuts events takes place during Meat Week. It's quite a cool spot. It's just over there in front of us, so might help you find this spot a little bit more easily if you're looking. Close the door there. Yeah, so I've mixed up sort of a crafting area up here and the bedroom over on this side, just to kind of spread things out a little bit, use a bit more of the camp space. Head out over this walkway. You can sort of see now why this might have been good if it was kind of an office that had been converted and I'd used the warehouse pieces, but I actually do kind of like this vibe. One issue with that would of course be that on this side we wouldn't have a doorway or a wall, so no half pieces and all that. Decided to put a little coffee station in the bedroom there because the kitchen's not really suited to it in this build, but it helps to have that Slakeham's Joe machine in. It's definitely useful. And there's a little bit of extra decoration around here. I felt that just the sort of dead plant there in the corner made a bit more sense than the one with all the leaves and stuff for this particular build. A few bits and pieces of appliances and stuff. There's our tinker's bench on the side and a cooking station in the corner. Had to go for the minecart. Literally had to for this build, didn't I? It's a bit weird that it's up one story, but yeah, let's not think too much about that. A couple of bits of decoration in the corner as well, just to dress it up, because obviously this thing doesn't quite fill the space, but just leaves just enough dead space to be awkward. We're coming up top, a little bit more decoration. Decided to squeeze Leo Petrov in the corner again, as he can be a handy ally to have, and I needed something up here. Having this little garden with the corner and stuff's maybe a bit of an odd choice for an abandoned mine, but maybe the person has decided to set up a bit more permanently here and has kind of chiseled out some of the boards and decided to put the soil in there to grow their food somewhere nice and safe. But yeah, figuring out what to do with this top floor was a bit challenging, really, so mix things up. But this back edge where the floor kind of meets the wall, I was able to snap that half wall through the stone, no problem at all, so just dropping a roof on the top of that was nice and easy, which is good. And those little Nuka-Cola advertising boards I picked up from Spin the Wheel the other day, actually, so those are nice to have as little dividers. Little look at the corrugated metal roof there, which looks pretty cool. I do like that texture, it's definitely better than the base one. We've got a nice look here. I quite like this place, it's simple. I kind of wish it was a little less square in hindsight, but it is what it is. There was a slight invasion of dogs down there, and we'll carry on. Oh, no, with using some doorways in random places and boarding things up and adding extra bits of texture to it. It's quite a cool set, this. So I think if we mix it up and get away from the mine vibe, maybe build a little house with it or a shack of some kind, something like that, it would work pretty well for that too. And mixed it up with some of the other textures might be potentially interesting if you want to give the place you're building a really reclaimed kind of vibe, which makes a lot of sense. I do quite like it. But I did decide to go down the mine shaft road for a first build with this, so you can really get the vibe and see all the different pieces, that sort of thing. And yeah, it's nice to get away from kind of the obvious idea, like with a mine shaft sometimes, but it also makes sense on occasion to go with that, and I felt it did here. So yeah, quite happy with how this came out. So I hope you folks enjoyed that one. If you did, please do consider dropping subs and likes. Do check out all the links and buttons and stuff down below as well. I do really, really appreciate that. If you get the chance as well, join us for live streams. We are, of course, playing Fallout 76 and checking out Red Dead 2 at the moment as well, which has been really good fun. But for now, I'll say a massive thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.